Hey, it's your girl Anna. Welcome to another episode of Guileless Intentions. We are so excited because this is our first episode in our new home. So tonight, I have a special guest in the building with me. You guys know that I love and admire powerful women, and we have Miss Amieelyn.
Thank you.
Who is a mental health advocate as well as an emotional intelligence coach. What's up, Amy?
Anna, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for being here on the platform. So, how you been?
I've been good. My baby's getting big. She's 4, and she's a lot of fun. And yeah, just moving through life.
Yeah, enjoying motherhood?
I am. It's a lot of fun. And it's just me getting to know a different me, which I've enjoyed.
I think that ties in with who you are and what you do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I am an emotional intelligence coach. I am certified by Yale Emotional Intelligence and 6 Seconds Evolutionary Mental Network.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is my second summer working with the underserved community in the South Bronx, specifically the youth.
Yes, you guys. Amy is definitely a Bronx girl. Shout out to the Bronx.
Definitely a graduate of the Bronx public school system.
Awesome. So let's talk about mental health in the Bronx, in the school systems. Well,
let's talk about mental health
in general.
And how it's still a stigma. Yeah. And how our community is still suffering because of it, because it's a stigma and because we don't have enough access to it.
So how does that affect the children that you work with?
So I hadn't been in that high school setting in a long time since I was in high school. Yeah. And going in, it shocked me. It shocked me a little bit. And we had to adjust because we definitely thought that the kids were at a meeting certain developmental milestones, and they weren't.
Wow.
But again, we are post-COVID and everything. So we have some work to do.
I know. I'm very aware because I'm in the mental health field myself. And I know that COVID has dramatically impacted the adults I work with.
Yeah.
It didn't discriminate. So what do you think, or how do you think your skill set makes a difference in those lives of those that have been impacted?
I mean, we were scared.
Yeah.
COVID was scary.
So scary.
We were home. We didn't leave. I remember wiping down groceries.
It was crazy.
We were scared. We were watching the news.
Yeah.
Every day, waiting, right? It was, so we have to kind of come back from that. And I think now we're starting to see some of the effects of COVID, we were scared for all this time. How will that affect us? It's coming out now. And one thing we have to relearn is just basic people skills. We have to relearn that. And what happens is the adults that are either in the home or in the schools, they're in the process of relearning it. And the kids that developmentally should be knowing this stuff by now, they're not,
It's hard for a parent to teach what they don't know themselves, I think, right? Do you think...
Very true. And as a parent, there's so many things that I had to learn.
Really?
New things, and learn things about myself to just be in that stage where I can be a mom.
So, learning things about yourself, right? I would assume that goes hand in hand with emotional intelligence. Yes. Can you kind of break down what that concept is for us?
So emotional intelligence is the capacity, the ability that you have to be able to identify and manage your own emotions as well as other people.
It's tough.
It is, right? A lot of us we see a lot of adult children. There's so many adult children. Yeah. And we wonder why, but it's because they just haven't learned these basic skills. They're based off of empathy, right? Usually if you come from a home where you're nurtured and you feel safe and not scared and protected, you come out pretty okay. You come out with some sense of empathy for the world, right? Most of us are raised in these environments where we're always in survival mode, and we don't feel safe as kids. That makes us not trust people.
As adults.
Yeah, and we grow up not trusting people, and we grow up, if you don't trust someone, you cannot possibly know how they feel or care how they feel. You don't trust them. They're already on the outside.
And it's like, do you trust yourself?
Correct. Because at this point, we're just repeating patterns.
Wow. How do you think your knowledge of emotional intelligence has affected and impacted the way that you conduct your personal relationships?
Huge. Emotional intelligence is what's going to crack the code for you. Your IQ is fixed. You're born with it. That's the intelligence you have. You can go to school, get whatever kind of degrees you'd like, but this is your fixed intelligence. Emotional intelligence, however, we can change that. We can make it better. We can learn new things and operate better in the world.
So I think that us being from the Bronx, right, we have such a bad rep.
We do. But, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have a bad rep, but we're also the resilient ones.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
We're tough.
We're tough. And what I was going to say is that I think that the more trauma that you go through, it kind of builds the resilience, right?
Definitely.
So what is the difference between the disadvantaged and those that are not? Do you see the need for emotional intelligence coaching in people that are in upper class settings? What do you think about that?
Yes, but they need it in a different way.
Okay.
We need it where we need to start with basic people skills and trusting other people and dealing with the fact that, hey, growing up, I didn't always feel safe. I'm on survival mode. That means my nervous system is firing. I don't know peace. I don't know calm. Everything to me is coming at me, whether you're trying to give me a hug or
defense
or even ask something about my personal life. It's like an attack because I don't trust you.
Wow.
People who are more advantaged, they felt safe growing up.
So how would they apply emotional intelligence coaching?
So it's tricky, right? Because although you feel safe growing up, the other aspect to emotional intelligence is being able to manage your relationship with other people. And so sometimes I'll find that someone has this sense of entitlement and maybe not enough empathy for others. And it is affecting the way they manage their relationships with other people.
So it's like a flip side.
Yeah.
Have you, in your professional experience, ever had the chance and opportunity to coach someone in an upper position about these skills?
So yes, I've been fortunate enough to be on the tech scene and digital startup scene. And,
ooh, tech. Fancy.
And it's needed, right? Because sometimes we have these unicorn companies that are just born, and these people with great ideas, they're like 20, 21, right? And they just got
with
like
a mega brain.
With a mega brain and a mega investment. They have $1 million in the bank account. Full control. Do what you want. Build a company.
20 years old.
Right. So there's a lot of liberty there that we just have to be careful. Does this person have enough emotional equity to be able to make the right decisions?
Ooh, say that word again. Run that back.
Emotional equity.
Ooh.
Doesn't it sound nice?
It sounds
There's
so
nothing
good.
like having a relationship with an emotionally mature person. Isn't it nice to feel safe and seen and heard and understood?
I think it's what's missing in a lot of relationships in our community, honestly. I feel like I'm gonna give an example. Krishan and the Blueface rapper, right?
Good example.
It's just so much that I feel is missing. And the basis of it, the core of it is neither of them seem to be emotionally aware of what's going on with them or why they're reacting or why they can't conduct an interview for 5 minutes without fighting or disrespecting each other.
Well, it's clear, right? They're unapologetic.
Definitely.
And if they're always fighting, then that means they make each other feel so unsafe. Why are we attracted to that? Come on. Only chaos can come from you being around someone that makes you feel unsafe. What's the most dangerous thing to a human being? Another human being.
Wow. 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 You know, I find that I literally had to reprogram my thinking. And I wasn't able to do that until I started seeking and outsourcing for ways like self-help, self-improvement, how to be better, how to meditate, how to ground myself, not to act impulsively.
It's hard.
And I realized that it was because I felt like I always needed to be on defense.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's learning to trust yourself.
Yeah.
But that's hard. Like, just mind control. Now you have to have mind control and reprogram yourself and learn all these different habits. But that is the only thing that's going to change your life. That, unfortunately, is a huge growing pain.
Do you think it affects your success?
100%. Once you start eliminating those things that get you out of character, everything else just lines up for you, right? Your triggers are your teachers. Wow. Whoever triggers you, oh, you just taught me something. Yeah. Can't do that again. Right?
So,
but that also means that a lot of people are going to go. They're just going to disappear. They're just going to drop like fucking flies from your life. Once you set an intention that you want to live a better life, a life of quality, and reprogram your mind, right?
How do you deal with the fear of shame?
So shame is a big part of mental health. And I call myself a mental health advocate because there are things that I have had access to from studying that most people that look like us probably don't have access to. And I'm an advocate for it because it is my intention to live my life based off of the things that I have learned, right? Okay, I studied this, I applied my time, and now I have this knowledge, and now I have to live this way. Now it is my law because intellectually, this is the right way.
How has that affected your relationships before and after?
For the better. For the better. Because again, now I'm creating relationships, and I have been working on creating relationships where I'm in a safe place. So I went from thinking I'm an introvert to, no, I'm actually pretty funny and pretty cool around the people around the people that I feel safe around. If you don't feel safe, then you're not yourself.
Authentic self. Wow, that's so interesting. Wow. So, what advice do you give to people who feel the stigma against recognizing I need help? I can't do this on my own. I need to regulate my emotions. I need to work on my temper, on my reactions to things. But, you know, there's still a cliche against, you know, mental health and being labeled.
So it's like you said, shame, right? Going back to the shame. We can't be ashamed anymore because it's hurting us. And we're so preoccupied with what other people are going to think about our vulnerability that we don't grow. And not growing is also a form of self-destruction, right? How are you not going to grow? That's what we're all here for, to grow. Acquire knowledge, apply it, and grow. Very simple.
Right.
So the shame piece, you have to trust yourself. And again, it's the first part of learning your emotional intelligence is knowing yourself, right? So I remember, and anyone could kind of have this example, not trusting your mind or your heart, but then there's something else, it's your body. The way your body reacts, trust that. Actually, that's the only thing you should trust because your mind You can pretty much.
Let's get into this.
Okay.
All right. So we're talking about the body now. Do you think a lack of emotional intelligence affects someone that's promiscuous? Do you think that, the culture that we live in now, so I consider myself a feminist, right? I am all for women, for our rights, for advocacy. However, there's certain things I don't agree with, right? I don't feel comfortable with certain things. Does that make me insecure? Does that make me uncomfortable, not with myself? Because now it's like the things that women were frowned upon, right, are glorified. Like, I'm going to show it off. I'm going to shake this. I'm going to do whatever I want. And it is what it is. Is that a lack? Or do you think that it's empowerment that they're feeling? Or do you think it's a lack of emotional intelligence? Like, they're trying to compensate for something that's missing? Like,
I think it boils down to one word. And I'm going to defend it. And it's substance, right? I take pride being a reserved woman, right? Like, circulation makes the price go down. If it's always available, then...
Businesses.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
If it's always available, then it's easy attainable, right?
Easy access.
But substance. Because some of us grew up in households and came from families, and depending on where your family was born, if you were born in the States, where getting a man with a good job is a come up. And I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it. But the truth is, we're living in a time where we have all the tools available to us if you want to better yourself. And if you don't, fine. But don't bring children into the world without bettering yourself. Because now let's not repeat old cycles.
But that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because then they come in with, someone else might say, my body, my choices, right? And we see, like, I'm just gonna put it out there. This is Guyless. We're keeping it uncut, real uncut and unfiltered, right? I was a teen mother. I have other friends that were teen parents that have children, multiple children after the first time. It took me one time.
You learned.
It took me one time to understand, right? Okay, this is something serious. Before I have another child, I need to establish something.
Yes. You were vulnerable with yourself.
With myself.
You were honest with yourself. And you probably were like, damn, this is difficult.
Yeah.
This is sacrificing.
Yeah. Very, very big sacrificing. So, I feel like I couldn't have a conversation with some of my friends that were having children like steps. Yeah. This is a real conversation right now, right? So this is going to ruffle some feathers. You're going back to back to back to back. And these are my friends that I feel kind of were like judging me because I made a choice that I wanted more for myself, right? I made a decision as a child, 16, 17. Now I'm a woman in my 20s. I want more. I don't think I'm better than. I just know that I can and I deserve better than, right? This is me learning myself, getting in touch with who I am. I knew I never wanted to settle. I see my peers, having these children. I had a friend tell me, I told her about a great job that fit her line of skill set, right? I'm going to lose my Section 8. But if you get this job, you won't need that.
Right.
You won't need to rely on that anymore. What is it with the culture, that we have? Like, and coming from the Bronx, like, why is there that fear to reach for more? Why is it that fear to tap into ourselves and pull out the best of who we could be? Like, what do you think? Why do you think?
Because in order for us to be it, we have to see it. And probably that young woman, the best you ever saw was someone holding down that Section 8 apartment for her kids, her kids' kids, and those kids coming after. Because it's still like something. But we come from nothing. So it translates into lack.
Yeah.
And you had new knowledge.
Yeah.
She wasn't open to that new knowledge. And that's when we stop growing. And we keep repeating the same patterns. And I'm so proud of you and your growth.
Thank you.
Being a mother is a choice.
It definitely
Oh,
is.
it goes from I'm a girl to I'm about to be a woman.
Responsible for someone 24/7,
someone other than
365.
myself? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah, it is. What are some of your proudest moments? You're a mother as well. What do you think are some of your proudest moments as a mother with the self work that you're doing?
Wow. I'm proud that being a mom is like sacrificing. We can glorify it, but we're sacrificing a piece of ourselves. Like we look at ourselves in the mirror last. Being a mother made me put my vanity to the side.
Wow.
Because it wasn't important anymore. Right? She doesn't care what I look like or what I'm wearing. She wants to feel me, to be connected to me.
Yeah.
And I think that, wow, that was one of the most realest relationships I've ever had.
With your daughter.
Yes, there's so much equity there. Because it's just like, I want to hold her. I don't want to disappoint her. I'm constantly like very aware, like, you know, she's like this little precious thing that I can't let down because your mom
on you.
is your nurturer.
Yeah.
You know, I can call my mom right now. I can call my grandma right now. They're going to drop what they're doing. I have that relationship. I have that bond with them. If they call me, I'm there.
It's beautiful.
You know? And my sister. Of course, I love my sister.
Shout out to sister.
She's with my daughter right now. So I think that going forward, your relationships, we have to stop looking at relationships like a time thing. Oh, well, we've been in this relationship for so long. That's equity. Is it? Let's test that. If it's toxic, if you're not growing, then that's just keeping you
So time doesn't matter.
stagnant, that relationship, and time is going by. That's what that means, right? All of your relationship, you should measure off of how you feel. Can I talk to this person? Can I have an authentic conversation with them? Or am I giving them bits and pieces? Because if you're doing that, then you're manipulating them. It's not real.
Wow.
For sure.
Wow, that's very interesting. So, what do you think is the future of mental health? As far, or what are some things? All right, let me not make you crazy.
We need better examples.
What
the
can
blue
we
face
what
and
can
his
we,
girlfriend.
What can we? Yeah, we can't protect our children from the internet, because it's not like when we were growing up. Everything is everywhere. Every second we have the shade room reporting on the minute what's happening, right? Shade room teens, all this stuff, and it's us against the exposure to what they have, right? It's what you're teaching your children at home versus what they're learning every time they turn on their phone or step outside. So you worked with children in the summertime. What are some pointers that you think parents can implement to kind of try to like be more present and try to help their children to shape and acknowledge their need to be aware of their emotional intelligence?
I think that's it right there. Is being present. Being present and accepting your kids. Right? We're living in a different generation. And I'm in my 30s, and I know that the last 10 years went by quick. And the advances in technology and just how far we've gone with our ideas as like a collective of people. Yeah. As parents, be present and accept your children. Be present, accept them, show them love, no matter what they are. They're an expression of you.
Yeah, very true. Risk management.
So risk management, I think that emotional intelligence and coaches have existed in that realm for a long time. I know tech founders that have had coaches that help them navigate through their just daily life, what's going on in their head, how to balance relationships, how to work into this new role. And as a professional that's working for a company, yeah, risk management needs to be assessed. And although you have the intelligence and the wherewithal to get here, it's going to require other people, right? So we always measure your risk management against how well you are able to interact with others. Wow. And how you're able to shape shift, right? You have to be different people for everyone.
Wow.
That's how you manage your relationships.
Do you think that that concept could factor into like entertainment, acting?
Actually, I think entertainment is one of the best industries for emotional intelligence teaching. Right? This isn't a person connected to a talent. Now, a lot of people feed off of this talent. We are depending on you.
And they shape and shift. They have a lot of control over the way that
the community.
Yeah.
Right? They provide impact.
Very
huge
big.
impact.
That's the word I was looking for. Very big impact.
And we need to figure out where you are emotionally. When the cameras are rolling, what is going to happen? How are you going to impact people?
I have a good example. Britney Spears. I was definitely a Britney Spears fan with her when she was in her prime. And now it seems, she's finally had what is it called? That the not the dictatorship,
some kind of something
control.
Limiting her.
Yeah, that her
from
parents
being her free
had
will.
Control. Yeah, and now she's like on the internet, naked every other day.
Wildin'. I'm from the Bronx. She's wildin'.
Like having
starting to make sense now why she was censored, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is it done purposely? Is this her feeling liberated and taking back her power? Like, does Britney, remember she had the shaving the head a few years ago with the children? Like, do you think that she...
That's distress. That's mental distress, right? It's like, but again, we never really knew the person. We knew the talent. We know Britney.
And who the label put out for us to see.
Right. And then the real her was, like, locked away. Wow. That's distress.
I think it's conservatorship. I was trying to think of the word. Where her parents kind of had control almost over everything that she did.
Yeah. So going back to your point, I think artists struggle the most. Because you have to be two people. Well, actually, you have to be what makes money.
Whatever sells.
Yeah. The other person you are, we don't really care.
Wow.
Right? So I think they need to talk about that. They need to talk about their emotions and how they're managing their relationships on a day-to-day basis. Like, can they even have real relationships?
You know what's so funny? For a long time in my life, when I was growing up, I was very uncomfortable in my skin.
Same.
I was very trying to find where I could fit in. I wasn't this enough. I wasn't that enough. And it took for me to become a woman and go through certain things that made me be like, enough. I'm going to be who I am going to be. And the right people will gravitate towards me, and those are the people that are supposed to be in my life.
You accepted yourself.
Yes, self-acceptance.
You were vulnerable.
But none of that was taught at home.
No. We had to learn. We had to go through so many obstacles to learn that.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like I said, outsourcing and just trying to be a better me. So now I make a conscious decision. I'm a mother, and I have my daughter, and I make a conscious decision to... teach her that she's a prize and teach her to love who she is, outside, inside. And I'm in awe of, like, her friend group. Like, she's with people that genuinely like her for her. And I wish that more people would just be comfortable with who they are.
Once you're comfortable with who you are, your people are going to find you. Just, like... They're going to find you.
It's the best connections ever.
Yeah.
The lifetimers.
Yeah. And that's built off of, like, you have to believe in yourself. That's built off of spirit. Because everything in our trajectory, everything that we see coming from the Bronx, coming from low socioeconomic status, what do we see? We see lack, right? We don't see bright lights and colors. We see lack.
Yeah.
And so to believe that you're worth more, that's going to take some religion. That's going to take some spirit and some belief and whatever you have to do.
What do you see yourself, where do you see yourself in 5 years in terms of this industry, this field that you're passionate about?
So the goal is to build an educational platform.
Okay.
But it's going to be catered to us, to our community, and how we learn and what we need to learn.
The language?
Correct. So I'm working on that, and I'm going to pilot it first into the high schools and test it on the kids first, because I think that's where we need to start to create any kind of impact, is the kids, where
That's
they spend
the
most
future.
of their time, and what kind of time, what quality time they're spending with each other. It's digital learning. We got to learn. But we also have to make sure that that learning is something that we can understand in our language, right? So the concept of emotional intelligence and self-awareness has been around for a very long time, but it's probably in a Harvard Business Review book.
Some people are going to watch this episode and say, what is emotional intelligence?
Right. It's not.
It needs to be in layman terms for them.
This needs to be in our language, so that we can learn and have an opportunity. A lot of these things I learned when I went to college. But I mean, I learned when I went to college, and I didn't have this cookie cutter career. I bounced around from college, probably because my mom just like wouldn't stop bothering me about it. Right? And I'm like, Mom, but I have an apartment and I can afford a car. And I'm like, fine, I'm having fun. And she's like, no. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're not there yet. Mm-hmm. Our generation, we're still working towards that.
Yeah.
We don't have those relationships yet. So you need to go to school. You need to be someone that has some kind of merit, and you need to be a figure. Like, more of us need to be in important rooms. And education is one part. But even if you're in the music industry, just make sure you're moving up that ladder. Move up the ladder. They need to see more of us.
Yeah, more than just an artist. I really like Jay-Z. It's so cliche.
How?
But because he is a great example.
He evolved.
Outside the evolution is ridiculous. You look at him from MTV TRL
he has
days
his
to
natural
now.
hair. Like,
Natural
wow.
hair, no jewelry on. This guy is a walking billionaire. And it's like the things that he talks about in his interviews and his music is
so
like
much substance.
So much substance.
Yeah.
You can tell he's very in tune with himself. We need more people not afraid to show that that's okay.
Specifically, because this is Guileless Intentions.
Keep it real.
We keep it real. We need more men showing up for themselves. Show up for yourself. Be vulnerable.
Emotional intelligence is lacking in the men department.
And it's just be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not soft. You're not, it's okay.
Isn't it sexy when a man is just comfortable in his skin? Man, that means you can hold me. I think that I have attracted relationships, both personal and not personal, I guess, where I was too much, and it didn't feel good. I didn't feel safe. I felt like this was a competition. Like, I didn't come in it for a competition. Like, it's not. That's, again, not trusting, not having enough empathy, not being able to really create this authentic connection to someone.
I think that that's more a result of the other parties, because when we come into connections with anyone, relationships with a partner, friendships, if that person is not secure within themselves, your enormousness will trigger them. I always say, like, I love being around confident women because I can be myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to feel like I don't want to talk about my accomplishments because I'm going to be thinking I'm bragging. No, I'm just happy. When you're around people that are good with themselves,
right,
it's a different conversation. Mm-hmm. If someone is not in touch with their emotional intelligence, or they're insecure, or they're dealing with things, I find that you have to shrink yourself. I don't want to shrink myself. I want to empower myself, and I want to empower you, and I want to be inspired because I'm inspired all the time.
Yeah.
All the time, yeah. And I think that's where that crabs in the barrel bucket mentality kind of comes in. Like, we have to get ahead, send the elevator back down to those that need it. Once we figure it out, you know, and support each other and things like that.
We do. We don't pay it forward enough. We don't pay it forward enough.
Yeah.
But we don't have people that support us.
Yeah.
That are saying, "Hey, I like what you stand for. I like what you're saying. Let's try and get the message out there for more people to hear these type of conversations." Yeah. It's behavior. So I guess I have always liked psychology because I was always curious about what makes a human motivated. What motivated that behavior? What motivated that intention? Right? And all of our motivation, it comes from our internal systems of belief. What do we value? And you don't know these things until you start asking yourself these things. So during our training, we literally had to ask ourselves these things.
What are your beliefs?
What are one of the assignments? I think one of the assignments that probably triggered me the most and just made me really think was to create this mask. And the mask was two-sided. And so the mask where it was facing the front, where everyone saw, you wrote down what you wanted them to see. That was the first part. And once we were done with that, we were led to the second part. So I had no idea how to plan it. And then the next prompt was, okay, on the inside of the mask, write what you really are.
That's some deep shit.
Wow.
That's some deep shit.
But it helped me deal with those things and just get to the root and just start repairing, right? So you need to take inventory.
Wow. It's like a wake-up call to yourself.
Yeah.
Facing yourself, I think, is very hard.
That mirror.
I think that...
it's also one of the places I find my confidence, though.
Yeah.
I talk to myself a lot in the mirror.
The growth that I feel like I've personally experienced has been when I really sat and faced myself. It's very hard to
dark.
be honest. Yes.
It's dark. No one wants to hear these bad stories
to admit, like, you know, I am this way and I am that way and I need to work on this. And I am the problem sometimes, you know?
You just got to own it.
What advice do you give to someone on a soul-searching journey?
The only way out is in. And you have to go back to...
It's very deep. The only way out is in.
Yeah. You know, our emotional intelligence can almost be thought of as a filing cabinet, right?
I love that.
So it's a filing cabinet in your brain, and you're going through life, and you're experiencing these things, and once we feel something, our brain, we perceive it, and then our brain makes a connection in our filing cabinet. So what does that feel like? Okay, I think this is love. I don't know, this is what I saw. But just because it's what you saw doesn't mean it's correct. It goes back to our systems of belief. Sometimes we have to figure out what they are. Sometimes they're not even ours. It's like, my grandmother lived this way, so...
Wow.
You know,
Talk about
I guess
it,
that's
girl.
right. Like,
Talk about it.
No. Absolutely not. We have to start creating our own systems of belief, rewriting them to align with what our authentic selves really are here for.
Does that go in line with breaking generational curses?
100%. 100%. But that's not for the weary. That's not for the weak. A lot of people are going to start tapping out when you're on your journey.
What is she talking about?
Keep going.
What is she talking about? This is...
Yeah.
She's, you know...
But it's always happened, right? Plato.
Yeah.
We all know him as a philosopher. And I love this story, and it's called Allegory of the Cave. And
that's a good one.
It's a bunch of prisoners. They're chained to a cave. The only thing they can see is what's in front of them. And maybe like a little opening in the back where they see
a little
shadows. And these prisoners base their whole life off of what they see in the shadow. Until one prisoner escapes. He goes out, he experiences the world and what life really is, and he almost like can't go on because he wants to save his people.
Yeah.
Right? He goes back and he tells them, and there's different endings of this story, and one of them, they kill him right? Like, because they don't they don't believe him. Like, this guy lost his mind.
Yeah.
And the other ones, they stay chained. The other endings of the story, they stay chained to the wall. They refuse to go with him. They don't trust him.
That's hard.
So many of us, though, that have grown up feeling so isolated and by ourselves, like you said, it's hard to have these conversations. It's hard to be authentic sometimes. You dumb yourself down. And then
you
what?
shrink to fit in.
And then you accept crumbs?
Yeah.
No, trust yourself.
Woo, trust yourself. All right, three things. Three things to leave the people with. So the first one is trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Uh-huh.
Get around people that help you trust yourself.
3.
And you have to read. Reading.
Guys,
like physically,
books are still okay.
They still exist.
You still can you can turn the page. And not everything, I know the phone is convenient, but I think that I just feel different when I'm reading a book in my hand.
It's a different type of comprehension.
Yeah.
Right? You're listening to it. You're using one of your senses. You're reading it. You really have to look with your eyes and make that connection with your brain to understand the text.
Yeah.
We have to start reading again.
Yeah. Well, Amiee, I look forward to all of your projects that you have coming forth. I'm so proud that you are standing up for the Bronx. We are very underlooked.
We are.
And
we're the resilient ones. We're the resilient ones.
They're gems. They're gems coming out of the Bronx. If it wasn't for the Bronx, none of this rap shit wouldn't be going on. So, tell us where we can find you. Okay.
So you can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
The name of my app is called In Your Mind app. You can find it at In Your Mind app. And I have a website. It's amieelynrivera.com. You can find me there. Awesome. Send me a message. Send me a DM. Always happy to connect with like-minded individuals.
Awesome.
Thank you, Anna.
No problem. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. And we will be checking in with y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.